Hello students, today we will start class 7th geography chapter 6 elements of weather and climate. In module 1 of this chapter we will study about weather and climate, atmospheric temperature, atmospheric pressure and the pressure belts. Students, we often get confused with the term weather and climate and interchange them. These two different terms have different meanings. First, let's understand the term weather. The condition of the atmosphere at a particular area over a short period of time is known as weather. Or in easy words, we can say that the day-to-day and hour-to-hour condition of the atmosphere is known as weather. Generally, we say that the weather is hot, cold, sunny, rainy or clear. Students, weather is not constant. It keeps on changing from place to place and from time to time in a short period of time. For example, in the same region, a city or town may have a clear sky, while the other town may have overcast or cloudy sky. Now let's talk about the climate. The average weather conditions of a large area over a long period of time is known as climate. This long period of time could be of 20 to 30 years. The climate of a place remains constant and does not change like weather. For example, India has a tropical monsoon climate, Vancouver has a moderate oceanic climate, and Antarctica has a polar climate. Students, do you know that the climate has a direct impact on our lifestyle? The type of houses we live in, the type of clothes that we wear, the crops that grow in a region, and the food habits of the people depend on the climate of a place. Elements of weather and climate. The factors that affect the weather and climate of a place are atmospheric temperature, pressure, winds, humidity, precipitation, sunshine, and cloudiness. Now let's understand about atmospheric temperature. Students, if I ask you to define temperature, then you can say that the degree of hotness and coldness is known as temperature. Similarly, atmospheric temperature refers to how hot or cold the air is at a place. As we know, the sun is the main source of heat and light energy, and the heat energy radiated or emitted by the sun is known as solar radiation. Students, the earth is very small as compared to the sun and even very far away. So, it receives only a small fraction of this energy. So, the amount of solar energy received by the earth is called insolation. In easy words, we can say that the incoming solar radiations on the earth is called solar insolation. The amount of insolation that reaches the earth depends on the inclination of the sun's rays and the duration of daylight. Now students, we will study about the heat zones of the earth. On the basis of the amount of insolation received, the earth has been divided into 3 heat zones. Now let's discuss about these heat zones in detail. They are torrid zone, temperate zone and frigid zone. Torrid zone. Torrid zone lies between the Tropic of Cancer 23.5 degree north and the Tropic of Capricorn 23.5 degree south is known as torrid zone. Here, the rays of the sun falls straight on this zone and it is the hottest zone of the earth. Here, the summers are extremely hot and even the winters are warm. Temperate zone. The temperate zone receives the slanting rays of the sun, so this region receives lesser amount of heat as compared to the torrid zone. The North Temperate Zone lies between the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle in the Northern Hemisphere, and the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle in the Southern Hemisphere. The temperate zone experiences warm summers, and in frigid zone the rays of the sun fall extremely slanting, which do not bring much heat to this zone. The North Frigid Zone lies between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole in the Northern Hemisphere, and the Antarctic Circle and the South Pole in the Southern Hemisphere. So, the region of frigid zone are the coldest and remain frozen. Thus, the heat zones located on the globe as torrid zone 23.5 degree north to 23.5 degree south, temperate zone 23.5 degree north to 66.5 degree north, and 23.5 degree south to 66.5 degree south. Frigid zone 66.5 degree north to North Pole and 66.5 degree south to South Pole. Factors controlling temperature. First, latitude. Students, the temperature of a place depends on the latitude. The temperature decreases with an increase in latitude on either side of the equator due to the spherical shape of the earth. The sun's rays that fall over the torrid zone travel a shorter distance and heat up a smaller surface area, leading to a high temperature. Because the equator and the places near the equator receives the vertical rays of the sun, whereas the sun's rays fall in a slanting position and heats up a larger area. Beyond the torrid zone, the temperate zone goes on falling. Therefore, the vertical rays heat up the earth more as compared with the slanting rays. The second factor that affects the temperature of a place is altitude. The temperature of the atmosphere of a place is also affected by the altitude. The height of a place above the main sea level is known as its altitude. The higher the altitude, the lower is the temperature. That is, the air is cooler at the higher altitude than on the earth's surface. The main reason for the decrease in temperature with an increase in height is that the atmosphere is heated from below. As air on the surface of the earth is denser and contains more carbon dioxide, water vapor, dust particles, and other gases which absorb more heat in the lower layer than the upper layer, where it contains lesser amount of water vapor and dust particles, and hence absorb less heat. That is why hill stations are cooler than plains. Distance from the sea. Students, sea has a moderate effect on the climate. So, the places near the sea are neither too hot nor too cold because of land and sea breeze. The land gets heat up and cools down faster than the sea. Hence, during the day, the land is hotter than the sea. The hot air over the land becomes lighter and moves upward. This creates a lower pressure over the land. The air above the sea is cooler during this time. When the air blows towards the lower pressure over the land, it lowers the temperature on land. Such cool breeze that blows over the earth is known as sea breeze. At night, the situation is reversed. The sea remains warmer than the land. So the cool breeze moves from the land to sea, and this is known as land breeze, which makes the sea cooler. So students, the places near the sea or any water body never experience extreme temperature. Such a climate is called maritime or oceanic climate, and the places that are away from the sea experience extreme temperature. Such places have a climate called continental climate. Winds. Winds also tends to change the temperature of a place. If the wind is blowing from a cooler area, then the temperature will be low. Whereas if the wind blows from the warmer area, then the temperature will rise. For example, if Delhi receives wind from the Himalayas, it will cool or reduce the temperature. On the other hand, if it receives hot winds from Rajasthan, then it will rise the temperature. Ocean currents. Students, first let's understand what is ocean current. A stream of water in an ocean flowing in a constant direction is called ocean current. Ocean currents are of two types: warm ocean currents and cold ocean currents. Similarly, like winds, if the coastal areas receive warm ocean currents, then the temperature will increase. And if cold ocean currents move towards coastal areas, then it will decrease the temperature or reduce the temperature. Students, except these factors, there are other factors that also have influence on the temperature of a place, like slope of land, soil, and vegetation cover. Measurement of temperature. Temperature is measured by an instrument called thermometer. The thermometers that are used to measure temperature are Fahrenheit scale and Celsius scale. Both of these scales are measured in degrees. In India, we mostly use Celsius scale. On Celsius scale, the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius and the freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius. And on Fahrenheit scale, boiling point is 212 degree Fahrenheit and cooling point is 32 degree Fahrenheit. Students, if you want to convert the temperature of Celsius scale to Fahrenheit scale, you can use this formula. Now we will understand what is atmospheric pressure. Students, though we cannot see air, air occupies space and has weight. It exerts its weight as pressure on the surface of the earth. This weight of air is called atmospheric pressure. Atmospheric pressure is measured by an instrument called a barometer. The unit in which air pressure is measured is called millibars. Now, let's see the factors that affect atmospheric pressure. As we know that atmospheric pressure is not same everywhere, as it keeps on changing from place to place. The factors that affect the atmospheric pressure are altitude, temperature, and the presence of water vapor. Now let's understand how the altitude affects the atmospheric pressure of a place. At the sea level, the air pressure is high, and as the height increases, the pressure decreases. At the sea level, the air is heavy, dense, and have high pressure, whereas if an area has light air, it rises up and thus it forms low pressure. Temperature. If an area is hot and has increase in temperature, then the air will rise and becomes light. Thus, it will have low pressure. On the other hand, if an area is cold and have cold and heavy air, it exerts more or high pressure. Water vapor. In this, the air which has water vapor is light than the air which has little or no water vapor. Now we will understand the pressure belts of the earth. Atmospheric pressure is not same all over the world. It changes from place to place. The main pressure belts of the world are equatorial low pressure belt, extends to 5 degree north and 5 degree south. Subtropical high pressure belt extends to 30 to 35 degree north and 30 to 35 degree south in both the hemisphere. Subpolar low pressure belt extends to 60 to 65 degree north and 60 to 65 degree south in both the hemisphere. Polar high pressure belt are at 90 degree north and 90 degree south. These pressure belts are not permanent as they keep shifting towards the northward and southward side with the movement of the sun. So students, in the next video we will discuss about winds and its types, humidity, condensation and precipitation.